I was posting about this idea, the kids bouncing in and out, and this idea of empty nesting when we're in the middle of our lives in the sandwich generation. And someone on one of my Instagram reels commented that, hey, it's not an empty nest, it's an open nest. And I love this idea. So I'm reframing this time for myself and thinking of our home as an open nest, meaning they are welcome back at any time. We have the space for them. They know that. We love when they come home. And if they ever need to come home for a short or long period of time, it's here for them. And I actually welcome and look forward to that. There comes a time, somewhere after 50, when you realize home isn't just about where you live. It's about how you live. It's about who you're becoming and what you're ready to make space for. I'm Juli Ford, real estate expert and longtime wellness coach, and someone who's lived in a multi-generational home for the past decade while reinventing my life and my business. And this is Home After 50, a podcast about what it really means to find, shape, and come home to a new season, to a new home, to a new version of yourself. Whether you're thinking about upsizing, downsizing, moving in with family, or just asking bigger questions about what's next, you're in the right place. Each episode, I will share stories, insights, and real strategies for women redefining home and life on their own terms. Because after 50, home isn't just a place, it's a calling. And this time, it's yours. Welcome back to Home After 50 and Happy New Year. Welcome to 2026. I don't know if you're like me, but I didn't feel like the year really got started until yesterday, Monday. It was an amazing holiday season. We had a lot of special family times with old friends, and I'm just coming into this new year feeling really, really grateful. And also, I'm coming into this new year with so many things present on my mind about what it means to be Gen X right now, to be the sandwich generation. And I have to apologize for my voice. You can probably tell I'm still getting over being sick, which was another gift of Christmas this year. But my voice is coming back. I figured it was good enough to hop on and start the new year off with a new podcast as I promised. So if you'll just bear with me, hopefully my voice will hold out for a few minutes here. It'll be a short solo episode today, but I do have a lot I would love to talk with you about. And I think this will resonate with so many people about being in your 50s really at this time and the complexities that come along with that, the beauty, the complexities, the challenges, the gifts. I turned 57 in November. And as you probably know, if you're a listener to the podcast, both of my kids graduated from college last May. And my mom, who's 82, lives with us in our multi-generational home. And we're in a shifting time right now. And it was never so clear to me as when we went through the holidays, my son came home. I had not seen him. He lives in Colorado. I had not seen him since May. And by the way, if you're enjoying the improved video performance of this podcast, it's because he gifted me a beautiful new camera for Christmas, which was a great gift because I really needed it. And so he came home for a few days. I hadn't seen him since his graduation, which was the longest I've ever gone without seeing him. So it was awesome to have him here for a few days with us and reconnect. And, when your kids graduate from college and they move away, it's just when you see them after 6 or 7 months, it's almost like they're a new person in some ways because the growth, I think, at this age, he's 20, is phenomenal. Like you grow really fast when you're in your late teens, early 20s, even through your 20s, I'd say. And, just the maturity, the way of thinking and the decisions that he's making. I'm just really so proud of him. And it was super fun to be together. And at the same time, my daughter decided to move out with friends. So she's moving in a week or two. She'll be nearby, thankfully. She's not going very far, but she's getting an apartment in the city and she will be, changing her lifestyle. And I don't blame her. I'm sad because I've become quite happy and accustomed to having her home again. When they go away to college, you always know they're going to be back and forth. So I don't think the idea of an empty nest had really set in with me quite yet, especially with her. My son's been living in Colorado pretty much year round for 2 or 3 years now. His first year at college, he came home for the summer, but after that, he had year-round rentals. So he would just come home for visits, but not for like long periods of time. But my daughter, while she was in college, she was home for months at a time. The summers were long and long winter breaks. So up until now, every time she's left, I've always known when the return date was, so I could sort of appreciate the coming and going. I actually always said I really loved that. I appreciated the quiet times around the house when my kids went off to college because I knew when they were going to be coming home, and then that would be like a more fun, exciting time. I would stay up too late, like I did ever since she came home from college. It's not her fault. I'm not blaming her, but somehow I just get in this different pattern of being up late when my kids are around. And but then I would enjoy like when they went off again. But this time I actually am finding myself feeling kind of sad because I don't know if there's a return date. Life is complex. And as I talk about all the time with multi-generational housing, there's so many challenges facing families, caring for our older aging parents and also addressing the affordability concerns for younger generations. So I think it's quite likely one or both of my kids could bounce back here at any time. And this is something I want to talk a little bit more about today. But at this moment, my son is living in Colorado indefinitely, and my daughter is preparing this, for this very exciting time of moving out to an apartment in the city with her good friends. And I don't blame her. If I were her, I would do exactly the same thing. She's got a great job in the city. She's got a great opportunity to live in a great neighborhood in a really cute, small but cute apartment with three great friends. And they've got tons of friends who live in that part of the city. And that's where they hang out on the weekends, anyways. And her lifestyle is just going to be super fun. And, for being 22 years old, I think I would make exactly the same choice. But from my perspective, I'm sad. I don't want her to go. Hopefully, she'll be back to visit a lot. But I was posting about this idea, of the kids bouncing in and out, and this idea of empty nesting when we're in the middle of our lives in the sandwich generation. And someone on one of my Instagram reels commented that, hey, it's not an empty nest, it's an open nest. And I love this idea. So I'm reframing this time for myself and thinking of our home as an open nest, meaning they are welcome back at any time. We have the space for them. They know that. We love when they come home. And if they ever need to come home for a short or long period of time, it's here for them. And I actually welcome and look forward to that. And at the same time, my mom, thankfully, she did well through the holidays, didn't have too many. She got this cold too. But other than that, we had kind of, an uneventful health holiday, which was great for her. And today, this morning, I was downstairs with her because she had an online doctor's appointment. And I usually try to go to her doctor's appointments with her, or sometimes my sister-in-law goes, sometimes my cousin, her niece goes. So we, share that responsibility in supporting her, which is great. But today it was me, and oh my gosh, I was so glad that I was there because it was a great appointment with some good suggestions from this specialist. And there was a lot to track in that. There were some recommendations for some medication changes. There were some recommendations for something new to try. There were some recommendations for some physical therapy. And all of this involved, tracking prescriptions being refilled and referrals being sent to a portal and then needing to be printed and brought to the physical therapist. And what else? Oh, changes, just like a ramping up of a certain medication. And, if you've ever done this before, that can be hard to track. And so if you're feeling like my mom is, tired, she struggles with a lot of pain because of some health stuff. And if you're feeling that way, it's hard to track all of that on your own. And I know many of you attend doctor's appointments with your aging parents, and thank you for doing that because it is so necessary. I mean, we know just tracking our own health stuff sometimes can be a lot of work. and it requires a lot of attention and mental capacity. Not that my mom has any cognitive issues, but when you're feeling tired, when you're not feeling well, managing, receiving all that information in a kind of a quick doctor's appointment, taking all those notes, which I did in this case for her, and then afterwards, creating your follow-up list of things you need to do, appointments you need to schedule, changes you need to implement. It's a lot. So for all of you out there supporting your aging parents, I see you. I appreciate you. We're all in this boat together, and it is part of being in our 50s, right? Or even, 60s, 40s, 30s, even for me in my 50s. And it can feel like a lot, but I'm just grateful that we live in this home where it's easy to do that, right? Like I went downstairs. It was a Zoom appointment. This was a great one because we didn't even have to leave the house, but I literally walked downstairs and got on this appointment with her, made our notes, and we know what to do next. So some other things that came up around the holidays, it's just amazing to me, like how many things happened around the holidays that were just so applicable to this stage of life. So my nephew got his real estate license and has joined my team, which is super exciting. He's actually graduating in May from college with a degree in construction management. And he's already got a job lined up, but he's going to support me with some real estate stuff on the side. He's been doing that actually already, but in an unlicensed way. And now he's got his license. So he'll have an opportunity to learn more, to make more money, and to just expand what he's capable of professionally. And it's a blessing because he's a great person and a great professional. And I'm so glad to have him on my team. So that was one thing that happened. And then his sister is actually in the midst of building an ADU with her wife's family. So they are doing something very similar to what we've done, and they're going to combine resources, but they are building an external ADU, so an accessory dwelling unit, which is basically a 900 square foot house on her parents' property. And we had a chance to talk last week about how they're pulling all of this together. They're working with a great company here in Massachusetts who is doing the build for them. And they, have to deal with all of the same questions that I help guide families through all the time of how are we paying for this? It's not inexpensive, by the way, to build an ADU. It can be several $100,000 here in this part of the country. And they are, combining resources, figuring out the legalities of that, making plans. But it's an exciting time because they'll be able to afford, in this way, a much nicer home than they would if they were to purchase something within their budget, just single family on the market in our area. They'll be close to family. And I think their plan, I'm not entirely sure about this, but a lot of families do look at it like this. I think their plan maybe eventually down the road in the future, to swap houses with her parents and maybe to have the parents move into the single level home that they're building, and then have my niece and her wife and hopefully their future children live in the bigger house. So a lot of multi-generational stuff happening very close to home for us. Also, over our vacation, my husband had a childhood friend and his wife come and stay with us for a week. And I feel terrible. I got sick while they were here. So it was like the worst host ever, but my husband took good care of them. And what that made me think about was how amazing it is, these lifelong friendships. I'm actually hoping to this month get together for coffee with my oldest friend, who I have been friends with since I was 4 years old, but we kind of just drifted apart, not for any negative reason between us, but we're reconnecting. And I'm so looking forward to that because, as my husband said when his friend was here staying with us, there's no one who understands like the complexities of our families, our life's journey, everything we've been through, all the versions of us over the years than an old friend, someone who's been there on the journey with you, whether it's a sibling or a cousin or a dear friend. It's just the sweetest thing to have people in your life who you don't have to, there's so many things you don't have to explain to a friend like that, right? Like there's an unspoken language There's a shared history, and it was so fun to see my husband and his friend enjoying this time together. And his wife was lovely. We had never met because they live in Portugal, so they were here staying for us. It snowed for them, which was so fun, twice actually, because they never get to see snow. So it was a really fun time. But when I reflect back on everything that kind of like happened and came up over the holidays for my family, I feel like we touched on almost every single thing that Gen X, the sandwich generation, women in our 50s are going through, experiencing, grappling with at this time in our lives. And it left me feeling really grateful and also wanting to share that with you and hear your stories. So, sometimes people will comment on these podcasts or, we're on YouTube here too. So, underneath the video and share some stories. And I absolutely love that. So if you are experiencing anything like the things that I've talked about today, if you can relate to any of this, I love to hear from you, whether it's an email or a comment. I just so appreciate it. I learned so much from the conversations that I have with other people, other women particularly, about how we can really approach this time in our lives with excitement, with expansion, with gratitude, and with support, because it's a lot to be going through. And I just appreciate every one of you who listens, who tunes in. And I'm so glad that you're here. So thanks for tuning in. I am planning on bringing more episodes with guests in the coming weeks. I've gotten a great response to that. I know my mom has been everybody's favorite guest so far, so hopefully we'll have her back on the podcast again soon. And I wish you a happy, happy start and a healthy one to 2026. If today's topic resonated with you, I would love to hear from you. You can email me at julie@juliford.com. Just remember, no E on Julie. And if you're someone who is living in or creating or just thinking about a multi-generational home, I hope you'll visit my website for resources, juliford.com/multi-gen. You can grab my free multi-generational living guide or my newly published complete multi-gen family toolkit to help you have a successful multi-generational home. Thanks so much for listening to Home After 50. If this episode resonated, I'd love it if you'd come hang out with me on Instagram. I am at It's Juli Ford, ITSJULIFORD. Just remember, no E on Julie. That's where I share ideas and behind the scenes about multi-generational living, real estate, business, and creating a next chapter that you love. And if you're curious about whether multi-generational living might be right for you, you can grab my free guide. It's in the link right in my Instagram bio. It's a simple way to get started imagining what's next. Because after 50, home isn't just a place, it's who we're becoming. See you next time.